Slowing down. So we'll go ahead and get started. Um, and I just want to check, Jesse. Jesse, are you on yet? Jesse Johns, she will be here. She texted me she had a meeting that was going to run right up to the start of this.
I don't see her yet.
Okay, great, thanks. She will join us. Um, and Becky, yes, we'll talk. We certainly are going to welcome people anytime they would like to join us. I have a sign up link for them, and I'll talk more about that a little bit. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm so happy to have you. Um, I did not imagine when I sent out the little request on the listserv. I was thinking maybe we'd have 10 or 12 people who would sign up. We have 250 people who signed up. There may not all be joining us today, but there are a lot of people. And this was me being every once in a while, you know how you're just a little bit dumb because I thought that this was something that I needed and maybe a few other people needed. I didn't really, the dumb part was I was not thinking that, oh, so many people would be interested in this. So I thank you for being patient with me as we kind of figured out how to organize so many people and how to share information and I think we did that really fast and there still may be a few hiccups along the way but thank you for your patience if you received multiple invitations or some crazy technology thing happened. I think we're getting that straightened out. So I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. What our different ways of organizing ourselves are. But first, we're going to introduce ourselves. And when I say us, it's me and my co-leader. And when she joins us, I'll have her introduce herself. So I'm Stephanie Foster. I am currently the Director of Assessment at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. And lucky to be here during this beautiful summer. Um, but I've been doing assessment work at a few different places for about 25 years. And oh, I see Jesse. Hi, Jesse. And for a long time, I was at George Mason University in the assessment office there. And I've probably been through 4 or 5 different assessment management systems at this point and all of the different things. And at CSU, as at many, probably all universities, there might be a few exceptions. We're facing some pretty big budget cuts, resource constrictions, and we just need to do some stuff a little bit smarter. And so I put out a call, it might have been about a year ago, to the listserv looking for one thing. And I got something I didn't expect, but something I needed, which was the most wonderful um, Jessie Johns from University of Missouri Columbia, who will introduce herself in a minute. She reached out to me and says, "Hey, I think I have a solution and I just want to share with you." And this started a beautiful friendship. And so Jessie is going to be my co-leader on this project. And so it's sort of an academic and student affairs partnership we have in the leadership of this group. Um, but I so appreciated Jesse's willingness to share with me, and I just saw so much opportunity. So, Jesse, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, y'all. I apologize for being tardy. I had a meeting off campus that was ended at noon. But anyways, as Stephanie was saying, my name is Jessie Johns. I work at the University of Missouri at the Columbia campus, so Mizzou. I work in student affairs assessment. I have been here for almost 3 years. September will be 3 years. And as Stephanie was saying, for us here at Mizzou, we were trying to figure out, yes, MIZ, we were trying to figure out a way we could keep track of assessment data without having to buy any software, because it was going to be totally on the the Division of Student Affairs to purchase, and we just can't afford 40 grand every year. So I responded to Stephanie's listserv. I do not think what I was offering or sharing was what she was expecting or even helpful, maybe what she thought she was going to get. But it's been really fun. And I'm excited to kind of dive into this with all of y'all and learn from each other because just because this is what works on my campus doesn't mean that there aren't better ways to improve it and also kind of learn from each other. So, yeah, we're excited for this.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out to the folks who are part of our group. We met over the spring and summer. So if you're here, maybe just put a little hand up and say hi to everybody. We had a few folks who we just kind of had casual meetings, and it was this group that decided we wanted to expand our and invite more folks into the conversation because we have a lot of questions and a lot of needs. So. Shout out to those folks. If you're here, just raise your hands and say hi. And thank you for coming. Yes, thanks. Bree's there, Karen's there. I see a few folks. Um, so um, the goals. I borrowed these goals from a few places online, and I think they're good ones. So thinking about a community of practice and what do we do? Uh, the intention is that we don't have all the answers to give to you. If we did, we would I don't know, we would be charging you for this maybe if we had all the answers. We would put out some workshops or something. But the idea is a community of practice is we come together to share what we know with each other to benefit everyone. So we see this community as a support network, as a place to collaborate with others to create better practices on our own campuses, as a place to increase our members' professional development and to encourage knowledge sharing. So again, we don't represent Microsoft. It's just that most of our campuses are Microsoft campuses. And so this is something our institution pays for and that we might use for our own purposes. It almost feels subversive. I don't know if any of you have tried to email more than 500 people in 1 week, but it turns out you can't do that on my campus. And so I have my loves and not so much loves for Microsoft, but here we are, we have Microsoft. And we also would like to help figure out how to scale approaches. So some of you out there, Jessie, for instance, showed me what she has been doing, and she's going to show you in September what she's been doing. On her campus, and she works in a student affairs unit where they're very sort of she can manage things in a more tight fashion. And I work with all I think 350 some academic degree programs on our campus, much less easy to manage. So some things that work for her don't work for me, but I think that as we share with each other, we can learn how to scale approaches and think about how things might work on our own campuses. Um, so I thought we might just take a little time right now to let you talk with each other. We can't do introductions across all the people, but I thought we would do some breakout rooms. We're going to do kind of a little bit bigger breakout rooms, 10 people. So if you would share who you are with those folks, what you do on your campus, and or in your company, because there are some consultants out there as well, and why you join the community and just get to know a few other people in this community. So we're going to take about 15 minutes, 12, maybe 12 minutes to do that. And then we are going to move on and talk more about how we're going to organize the group. So, just love to see all your faces pop back up as you came back from your breakout rooms. Um, I know we may have lost a couple people because sometimes when they say breakout rooms, I sometimes leave too. But I hope nobody did that today and you all were able to talk to each other. If we did introductions in the whole group, we'd still be here this afternoon, and you'd miss your lunch if you didn't already have it. So. I hope you got a chance to meet a few people. Um, and we're going to have more opportunities to do this in the future as well. I just want to spend a few minutes, just a few minutes, talking about our initial organization strategy for the community of practice. And then we're going to spend the second half hour hearing from two of our members who are going to talk about how they use SharePoint in their assessment processes. I'm going to give them time to do that. But First, I thought I'd give you a little information. So, when Jesse and I started talking about how do we manage so many people and how do we kind of organize ourselves as we move forward, we decided that we'd start off by having folks share some strategies and tools that they're using and how they're using it. And we thought we'd also start kind of with some tools that you may already be familiar with. Like most of us have had some experience with OneDrive or SharePoint. And so we thought we'd start today with that because you might be able to connect with that first. And then we would build upon that to show tools you may not be using or show ways that folks are integrating the various tools, which is the thing that probably interests most people is how do these tools get integrated to do something cool. So this semester, we've got a schedule. I did send this out on the list serve that I added you all to, and I'm sorry if that makes you at all grumpy to be added to another list serve. But as I said, Microsoft won't let me email you all at once, more than once. So we have a list serve that we've set up. And if you are not on the listserv, or if you're not sure, Jesse has just posted a PDF um, in the chat. This PDF I also just sent on the listserv, so you may already have it. But if you don't, there is a link on there for how you can add yourself or check um, yourself. Now, you can post to that listserv as well. So if you've got questions or want to connect with people specifically in this community of practice, the listserv is the primary way to do it. I also am doing an experiment where I added a channel um, in Zoom in this tool, and many of you caught on to that and are kind of excited about that, and others of you may not be so sure. I apologize, I kind of forgot. We don't have a Zoom license on my campus, so I pay for a personal license, so you got it from my Gmail account. I apologize, that was confusing. This is where I want to say I'm sorry. We I'm figuring things out as I go. The PDF has your Zoom meeting link. It'll be the same link for all our meetings. It has the listserv information. It has a OneDrive resource folder that Jesse is managing. It's been a little clunky to add me, so we're asked for your patience as we figure that out. But we don't have anything in there yet, but we'll be adding articles and things there. We are going to record these sessions and then post the sessions on uh, YouTube. The YouTube will be available by link only and will not be searchable. So the link is available on the PDF that you received. And this is for folks who are not able to make it to every meeting. And I know folks do like to see recordings, so we're going to go ahead and try that out, see how that works. And we'll make sure that it has a transcript and the accessibility options that YouTube offers us for folks. That will be available there. So also available on that PDF is this fall's schedule, which I hinted at, but we have got a schedule where we've got folks who are going to be members who are going to be presenting on some of the primary tools that you all indicated you are interested in. And then at our December meeting, I think that's the time we're going to kind of regroup and talk about kind of shifting focus a little bit and maybe identifying some interest groups or how we might want to break out into maybe some project groups or interest groups around certain types of things that you all want to be doing so that you can engage more deeply or get more directed support or ideas on the thing that you are trying to do. So I'm not 100% sure how we organize ourselves on that yet, but I think it will become clear by that meeting. We have we're going to have a feedback form after each of these meetings that we'll ask you to fill out. That link is also on the PDF and we'll post it in the listserv. And I'm hoping that folks will give us some feedback so that it will help us to organize those interest groups for the spring.
Mhm.
That was a lot of information really fast. And so I just want to give a couple minutes. If you've got questions, um, either unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat. Um, so I know I see Rich from UVM about Brightspace. Um, okay, yep, just asking for help. And Richard, that's something you could also post on the listserv too, if that helps to engage folks in that conversation around Brightspace. Are there any questions just right now about how the community of practice will work? That would be fun. I'm not planning to go to the Assessment Institute, but those folks who are going to be there, that's something um, that could be super fun for folks
Mhm.
to do. That we could also post that on the listserv if
Mhm.
that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so no questions right now about how we're gonna move forward. If you have any questions about the community of practice or anything that's in that PDF, please let me or Jesse know. Um, we're still working out, the hiccups along the way. And there was a question earlier about new folks. I'm happy to welcome new folks. We have a link that I did not include
It
on
is at the bottom.
on the bottom. I did.
Mhm. Yes, the
Oh,
one
you're
I dropped in there. Mhm.
I was just telling Jesse how in my aging advanced years, I forget all the things that I do. So it's a good thing I write them down. So at the very bottom of the PDF, if you would like to invite new members, we just ask them to use the sign up form. It collects their contact information and then it will automatically email them the Zoom information and this PDF with all of the other links. So I'm getting smart. I did it. I did it fast. So folks can get all the same information automatically, and then they don't have to email me or Jesse. They can just do the link, and then they're in. Ah, okay. So I don't want to waste any more time. I'd like to turn the session over to our speakers. I would like to introduce first Rebecca Goldstein from Florida Atlantic University, who will spend about 12 to 15 minutes talking a bit about SharePoint, and then Amber Nelms from Jackson State Community College.
Right. Let me try to share. Good enough. It should share. All right. Can you only see the PowerPoint and not the rest of my screen that's a mess?
Yes.
We're doing great.
Yes.
All right. Um, so I had been asked to talk a little about SharePoint. If you don't use SharePoint, my first question was, let's make sure we all have the same definition of SharePoint. SharePoint, according to Wikipedia, which we all know and trust, but also was definitely the best definition, is a web application by Microsoft that's primarily used for building an intranet and managing and merging and sharing files. So think of it like an intranet, think of it as kind of like a save area that you can use in the cloud. The other thing I found was this link, which I can leave somewhere, SharePointMaven.com, which was actually a really good website, just getting into like all the fun things SharePoint can do, which I didn't know. Um, and then SharePoint is highly integrated with other Office products, and really helpful. The other question that came up off the bat was the difference between SharePoint and OneDrive? Because on the surface, they both sound the same. And SharePoint is much more specifically for teams and organizations, as opposed to OneDrive, which is meant to be more like your cloud source. So SharePoint was meant more to be like an internal drive that many people on a team would share. OneDrive was meant more to be just for you. It's meant OneDrive is meant more for like you to share maybe with one or two other people. SharePoint is meant for you to share with 200, 300, 400 other people. Um, and then SharePoint theoretically has a higher level of security to it, but then also people were like, maybe, maybe not. Um, if something's coming up in the chat, I don't have a really great way to see it with sharing screen at the same time. So feel free to interrupt me. That might be the easiest. If there's something you want me to stop on or pause on. Okay.
So
Um,
I'll handle it, but so far it's just people sharing information with each other.
okay. Um, so this is how we were using SharePoint, and this is how we are still using SharePoint. We use it as a place to store mostly our aggregated KPI counts. Originally, we were using it to store both our raw and aggregated KPIs. So we have it under documents, and then not everyone within the division, but everyone who has data need of it within the division, which ends up being somewhere around 150 people has access to the site. And each year we make a new file that's that academic year's year. And then within the file, every department has their own KPI documents that they control. And therefore, and then they add their KPI data into this. Again, we only are using the aggregated now, but at one point we were also putting in all the raw, so all the student information was in here as well. Recently we built a database that connects to some of our other products that's a little bit more secure and a lot easier. But originally they were pulling down their Excel files and then dropping them into this, adding what they were linking to, and bringing it together. So this is from our campus rec one, and you can kind of just see it's their summer numbers and then the totals, and then it goes on and on and on in different columns. Campus rec also keeps some other things at the bottom of like programs that were sunset, and different departments have different things they keep at the bottoms along the way. One of the nice things as well with SharePoint is that we have like helpful documents. So this is resources that we might have. This is videos we might have of how to use it. This is links to the strategic plan because they'll have to connect it to the strategic plan. Anything like that. So there's some things that work really well with SharePoint. Multiple users are able to be in it at the same time. We never have the issue that we've had with other sites where it will lag. We can have I've had up to 100 people in it all at the same time, all clicking on different things. There's no issues with that. And that's really helpful. It's easy to use on campus. They can SSO in and get to it off campus. All of that works really well. There's a huge amount of storage. We have not even started to hit our cap on storage. And as needed, we've also been able to work with OIT to increase storage as different things have come up on it. The ability to store without the data corrupting has also been really strong, particularly in Excel. I do know other people have run into that. Knock on wood, we just haven't yet. One thing that was also really great for us is we're able to pull the data, particularly when we're using the raw data, directly into Power BI and just kind of pull it seamlessly so we can update and call down from SharePoint into Power BI and refresh that screen. So that was really great. Being able to do calculations within the data has also been really helpful. Being able to use it to create PowerPoints or any other Office products, again, that creativity within it. The fact that we can also save other things into it, whether it's PDFs or JPEGs or any type of file document, really has been able to go in and be saved. Some of our departments have other things that they want to keep there for future years. And then the ability to easily save between the desktop and the cloud, moving where we need to move as needed. So that all works really, really well for us. But there's a lot of things that really don't work. So one of the biggest issues is that it's open to the rest of the division to see, which also means someone else can go in and accidentally delete something. We do sometimes have the ability to add like the SharePoint where it saves previous versions, it takes a snapshot, but we have had where someone goes in and is like, oh, I'm going to help you out, and then they accidentally delete something or they move something or whatever happens. And that's always, you know, a little scary. Um, Users can also change each other's work. The other thing is, that was the first bullet, I switched these two bullets in my head. Users can go into the Excel template, which I have fairly carefully constructed for them to fit the Power BI, and add a space to it, or change a font, or whatever else they do to it, or move around something, or change a date because it fits their department better. And then they mess up an entire dashboard and I cannot figure out who did what. So that conversation of locking the cells down, but even then, sometimes I can't lock it down enough to ensure that everything stays the same to link to other areas. And as I mentioned in my small group, different departments have different definitions for things that are really important to their department, but don't necessarily fit the university overall. In student affairs, a good goal might be a decrease in something. So there's things like that that get funky. And then lastly, because with SharePoint, we're really using Excel highly. Excel online is not the same as Excel on your desktop. Functions move around. It's not as robust. And people just get confused. They get overwhelmed. They add a million extra cells to something on accident and then bog down the whole system. So that is our positives and negatives from SharePoint as I have observed them. And I don't know if there are questions or we're just going to roll into Amber.
I think it would be awesome to roll into Amber, and then if we have a couple minutes at the end, folks can ask questions.
That's good.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That is a great lead in to what I would like to share with you. I didn't do slides because I'm just going to share my screen and share our SharePoint with you. So that I'll just kind of take you on a little tour of what I have done. Let me share. Can you see? Okay. So I shared with my breakout group that I am a former anthology user at a different institution, and I moved that institution to the use of SharePoint for all things assessment and accreditation, and did the same thing when I got to Jackson State. Here it was kind of a matter of finance, really, but also organization. So I created a SharePoint site that I named Institutional Planning, and because as Rebecca said, it's like an intranet, I approached it like an internal web page for all things related to planning. So when my users, which right now I have 57 members across the institution, when they come into the SharePoint site, I make the institutional effectiveness front and center so that they can click and get straight to where I have their institutional effectiveness plans organized. I give them information, important information about their plan structure. And then I just set this up as a table organizationally by org chart. And it also, I added a column for myself just so that we know who's complete and who's not at a glance. They click on their plan and I'll click on my own. And each of our IE plans is set up in an Excel template. And I organize these by date tabs across the bottom. And because you do have to think about managing permissions, I do that on the front end. When I create files, I go ahead and manage the access so that only the unit people have access to their own plan. So that's kind of how I manage the accessibility to that. And of course, depending on supervisors and leadership, they also have access to their whole division. So I'm just going to go back to the home page and take you through my menu. The first thing that I have, which is, and let me just say, my site is a work in progress. I'm always thinking of new ways and to present the information to make it easy for people. But I've started a learning library where they can find their IE handbook. And then I've begun to use Clipchamp, also a Microsoft tool to create videos. And I love Clipchamp because it does embed straight into the SharePoint, but also I don't have to use my voice. It has voices that you just type in what you want it to say and it speaks it for you, which I love. I have an accreditation area on my menu. So I have institutional accreditation page where they can access a historical archive of everything related to things we've submitted, a substantive change resource page. We did our entire compliance certification document right here. I created a portal where all of my narrative writers had a work area. Again, that was set up with permissions. People were able to come in and collaborate, see the faculty rosters, work on the narratives, had all of that linked within here so that everything was at their fingertips as they worked on the compliance document. I have a page for programmatic accreditation where I'm beginning to store self-studies and information for programmatic accreditation. And then we also have academic audit, or what most people call program reviews. And I'm beginning to set up and have storage for all of that. We've looked at the institutional effectiveness portal, but I also have a page for our events that we are hosting, like different our fall and spring IE meetings. We have an area for curriculum mapping work that we're doing, and then anything that we host, we try to place pictures out there and just use it as a historical archive. For the institutional research part of our site, we have one page where I have our data collection schedule that tells people everything that we gather and when it happens and what it's used for. And then we also have a page under research for all of our data dashboards, which are built in Power BI. So we have, of course, our institutional fact book that they can access. Also, a student success metrics dashboard. We have put all of our SESI and SENSE data into dashboards so that units that want to utilize and pull from that data in their IE plans, everything is in one spot for them. We have our IRB information here. And then finally, we have our strategic planning area where we work on our strategic plan and put in our annual data for review. And under that, we have our student achievement data, which is one of our SAC COC standards. So I keep that updated here, which does not provide external publication, but it's for our internal use. And then I also place this on our website. But I know I went fast, but I wanted to go kind of fast to allow for questions. So I'm going to stop sharing and just that way everyone has time to talk and ask questions.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will say I did a lot of research for my dissertation about assessment practices and what I learned and put into practice myself. And even just anecdotally, what I know is that people do more authentic work when they don't have to overcome a barrier of doing the work. So by making it so accessible and so easy, it really encourages people to come in and use the data, access things, do some really, really good work, and I couldn't be more happy. And the institution couldn't be more happy because we don't have expensive contracts every year.
Amber, I'm also doing my dissertation on assessment and engaging faculty in assessment. And I feel like I might have even seen your dissertation in my research, but I was so happy that you said, because I have a technical background from many years ago, and we used a thing called IBM Quick Place, which was like an intranet. And the thing that has killed me about Teams or about Microsoft in general is that that was not clicking for me. So when you said that it is like an internal website, that just hit it for me. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And I love how this piggybacked on our previous presenter, because when you set up everything in the background, when you do your file structure and you set up your folders and your permissions, then you can come into your SharePoint site and be as creative and make it as visual or user-friendly as possible. So I really tried to make it our own. Well, it's our planning site, but as close to an assessment platform as possible, except even better because now they're not searching and asking for everything. Like, they come here and it's a one-stop shop for everything that they need.
There was a question in the chat about permissions, and I actually volunteered Jesse to talk more about that in September, because it seems like we might spend a little more time on that. And Denise Shaver asked about, for both of the speakers today, what kind of technical expertise did you bring to this, or backgrounds do you have? There may be, I'm only guessing, Denise, but I personally am a little nervous not having that training myself. So we'd love to hear about your training and your preparation for doing this.
Honestly, I spent a lot of time on YouTube. And just learned it along the way. Now LinkedIn Learning also has a ton, and we do pay for LinkedIn Learning as a university. So that's how I have been training my student workers on many of Microsoft products. Microsoft also itself has a good amount of training built in online. But I don't have a tech background. I have a science background at most, but my master's and doctorate are in education.
No technical background here, as far as this goes. I mean, my husband works for Caterpillar and he shared a lot with me. Just, he didn't teach me a lot, but he would say, oh, we use SharePoint for this, or we were using Power BI for that. And so I just started getting in here and teaching myself. And it's very user friendly, and it's very intuitive in my opinion. And it's just, like I said, a work in progress, because I know that there's a lot more I could do to make it better. But in the spirit of institutional effectiveness, I will keep trying to do that. No coding needed. And how long did it take to set up this site? When I got here, it was out of necessity because there had been so much turnover that I could not locate the historical accreditation documents. People were searching, trying to get me what I needed, and I just determined that I would leave it in a much better way than I had found it. So one of the things I'm most proud of is that my accreditation area where you see historical, it is a date spreadsheet by date, and in the spreadsheet links to every piece of evidence and documentation, so that whoever comes behind me will never have to search for anything ever again. But as far as time wise, I just built it as I went. I needed something fast, so I built just enough to get it rolled out, because when I got here, the first priority was to prepare for our on-site visit, which happens in October this year. So we needed 3 full cycles of assessment data, and that process had ceased. So I had to immediately get started and get that rolling. And this was the fastest, easiest way that I could reach the most people and teach them how to use it. Not everybody is an Excel user, so occasionally if you decide to use Excel templates for your assessment collection, you may have to do just a little bit of teaching and training, but if you set them up in a real simple fashion and just spend a little time, it pays for itself because it just makes it so much easier. I spent far more time teaching people how to log into an assessment platform and how to use it because they were only using it one time a year. And this is a living, breathing place that they're coming into all the time.
Amber, there's a question for you from Karen. How long did it take to initially set up the planning site?
Like I said, I did it as I went. I mean, I work on it all the time, but probably several hours initially to just get it organized and link things here to make it easy for them.
There was also a question that says, and I think this was for Rebecca, but it was asking about data management and the import process into Power BI and asking if you used a SQL database or if you're using Microsoft Excel sheets.
We're using Excel sheets and we still have some Excel sheets, but we're trying to transition a lot of it into a Microsoft SQL base because it's cleaner and it stores data better. And as the data gets bigger, we just needed a database. But transitioning people into a database where they're feeding data into a database, they're like, where's my data disappearing to? I can't see it anymore. And that's been its own fun challenge of being like, it's there, it's in the cloud. They're like, I can't see it. So learning. We're doing good.
We are at the end of our meeting, and I want to so appreciate Amber and Rebecca for what you've shared today. I know it was a short time, it was just an introduction. We're going to spend more time on this in September. Jessie will show you how she integrates a few different Microsoft tools, including SharePoint as part of that. Jessie is also going to collect any of the resources that folks put in the chat and put that into the OneDrive folder so that we're going to capture all that. And the chat is persistent too. So you can always go back into Zoom and find this. The chat should stay. So you can see everybody's comments again, but Jessie will capture the actual resources. I will follow up when the video of this session is ready. I'll put it on the listserv. At that time, I'll also remind you to do the little feedback form, which I hope you'll do. This isn't just FYI. This is really to give us good information about what you liked, what you'd like to see more of, and how we can just make sure we respond to your needs. Otherwise, we'll see you back in September. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
y'all.
Good luck this week.
Great job, you guys. This is awesome.